This is Smarter San Diego TV.
You said you've been talking to scientists, people who have solutions. What needs to be done? $8+ billion in profits in 3 months, but they won't admit that it's happening. Should women be allowed to become Navy SEALs?
The short answer is no.
I'm feeling very good right now.
You lived there
Oh
for
my
4.5
gosh.
years and you didn't know?
So the government now, very invested in the mortgage industry. What's happening in China that no one knows about, the news isn't covering? Tell us what's going on.
I'm in the naughty corner today.
Like you said, you're not getting rich in the military. You got to come up with a way to build some wealth. Real estate, best way to do that. I mean, can it still be fixed? And if so, what do we need to do?
Welcome to Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, and we do it commercial free. I'm your co-host Rebecca Peters from the other side of the pond, speaking the Queen's English. Please welcome your host, financial expert and longtime consumer advocate, Derek Evans.
Thank you, Rebecca, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you all for watching the show. We appreciate your comments and messages via the interwebs. And today we're doing something a little different.
Yeah.
So you recently went to the beach for work.
I did.
How was it?
Well, I didn't get to wear my bathing suit, so.
We could change that up next time. I don't know. Yeah, that might work.
But, yeah, well,
She's not sure.
time to go to the gym.
So you went to the beach, La Jolla Shores.
Yes.
Specifically. So we did some social media stuff. We asked people where their favorite beaches were, and then we decided, you know what, we need to actually go to the beaches.
Yeah.
Right, and talk to the peeps there.
Yep, so we went to the beaches, we kind of asked them what they like, what they don't like. Not that there isn't much to not like about San Diego, but...
There's some interesting answers in there.
Yeah, there's some interesting answers and maybe things that people would like to see improved around San Diego.
Yeah, and we're doing this for the next 6 weeks.
Yes.
So we're going to be going to all the beaches. So if you see the Smarter San Diego crew on the beaches asking questions, jump in there and say what's up. Let's check it out right now.
What brings you to La Jolla Shores today, Rod?
Well, it was extremely beautiful outside today, so we decided to head over to the beach.
It was a nice day, and we thought we'd be doing everyone wrong in San Diego if we didn't go to the beach.
Holiday and sun.
Walked from home out here to go have lunch at Caroline's, and now we're going to walk back home.
Just enjoying the good weather. We're so spoiled. This is February.
There's one thing you could change about San Diego, what would that be?
Oh, start off, I'd start working on the infrastructure.
The traffic sometimes, I think rush hour starts kind of early down here.
Probably be the stoplight timers.
There's a lot of homeless, so I'd like to see that improved.
Better parking.
It's too crowded. And everyone leave San Diego, please. Causing us traffic and parking, oh my goodness. Yeah. So this is kind of a trick question I'm gonna ask you.
Okay.
So if yes is spelled Y-E-S, what is E-Y-E-S?
Is it a yes?
I don't know. EYES? A's?
Eyes.
Dang it!
Eyes! Wow! Eyes?
Yeah, you got it, girl. Yes.
Eyes.
If yes is spelled Y-E-S. I didn't even get to finish the question.
It's kind of like what a teenager says. When they say no, they go no. And when they say yes, they probably go yes.
Yes. Yes. I used to say that all the time when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Yes.
That question stumped a lot of people. It stumped me at first.
Stumped me.
So
You
if anyone
stumped me
feels
with it.
bad.
Yeah, but a lot of people have heard it before.
Yeah.
So they're like, especially the guy who answered beforehand. Funny stuff. Hey, we have a jam-packed show today, so I got to go get my jacket on. It's time to start the show.
Our next guest is our community correspondent at Scripps Ranch. Please welcome back to the show real estate expert Scott Ryan and his special guest, Captain Mortgage from Synergy One Lending, Scott Boaman.
All right, the captain is here. Our Scripps Ranch is here. What's up, fellas?
How's it going?
Scott Ryan, you just won a big award, dude. Caldwell Banker.
Yes, thank you.
Tell us about that.
Well, 2015 was a great year, and just want to thank all my great clients that trusted me with their real estate decisions, and I was able to earn one of the highest awards that Caldwell Banker offers, which is the President's Elite Award. So it was nice to be honored in front of my peers and had a nice awards banquet ceremony last week over it. So it was great.
Little golf clap for Scott, I think, for that one. President's Elite
you.
Award.
Congratulations.
Very cool.
That's
Yeah, very few
awesome.
people get that, by the way. And you wanted to bring Scott Boaman in today. Tell us why.
Absolutely. Well, I've been holding a lot of open houses in the community at Scripps Ranch and just meeting a lot of buyers and talking with a lot of people amongst the community. And I can't tell you how many times I have a conversation with people and ask them, because they're obviously interested in buying real estate, but I ask them, have you been pre-approved with lender? Have you talked to any expert to help you with your mortgage financing? And the answer is usually no. And it surprises me. And I think a lot of it is predicated on how technology has changed the access to real estate online, through third-party websites, Zillows, Redfin, sites like that. And people, they want to shop first and figure it out later. So they rush to this open house. It's a great property, and they want to buy it, but they haven't taken the necessary steps to be prepared. So I thought it'd be really great to bring somebody with many years of expertise on the show to talk about how they can position themselves better in a competitive environment, which is quite common in Scripps Ranch, to be prepared and be able to make offers and look at real estate knowing that they're set to go.
Yeah, especially in Scripps Ranch. What's the average price point in Scripps Ranch approximately? I know you don't have off the top of your head,
it's probably $825.
$820, so let's say $800K.
Sure.
You're not getting an FHA loan there.
Correct. Definitely not. No.
So you don't want to be in scramble mode if you're buying a property in Scripps Ranch, right, Scott?
Correct. Also, I think it's vital that you know what you're going after. It's kind of like doing target shooting and taking a shotgun out and just aimlessly shooting without really lasering in on exactly where you want to be at from the price point without knowing specifically. So I think it's vital what Scott's saying that people definitely have to do.
Yeah, you have to take that step. Well, I mean, if you're going to go in a competitive situation, means that there are people who are probably offering cash, things like that. So if you need financing, first of all, if that's the first thing that you recognize in this situation, then you've got to get those ducks in a row, right?
Correct.
And it's just not that simple if you're going outside of the government products.
Correct.
You really got to know what you're doing, what they're looking for. There's big differences between credit scores and different qualifying standards, right?
Correct. Credit scores, down payment, financing programs, interest only. There's a lot of programs that are coming to the market now that weren't available before. So people should take advantage of those and know about those and definitely get those lined up before they jump into the process of looking at the homes like Scott's saying.
Yeah, and with the, you have a 21-day closing program.
We do.
Tell us about that.
It's vital that the borrower gets approved before they actually start making offers. So that way, it's not just giving me information, looking at it and go, yeah, it looks like you meet all the guidelines, but actually taking it through the underwriting process. So that way, we know everything based on your standpoint, except for appraisal, escrow, title, things like that relate to the property, but based on you, you're ready to go. So what that does is shortens the amount of time frame that we need in order to facilitate the whole process, puts them in a far better position of saying, okay, we're going to start our loan once we get the offer accepted, wait the normal 30, 45 days that you normally take for the close of escrow, and go that route. So if we can close it in 21 days, which the majority of our programs are set up to be able to do that, gives them a phenomenal edge in the negotiating situation.
How does that work out, Scott, in Scripps Ranch specifically?
Definitely. I mean, it's so helpful. And a lot of people say to me, who should I use? I always say go with somebody who's very experienced. I know Scott's got years and years of experience because he and I were just talking in the lobby earlier about a buyer that had come to him and had gone to a different lender and said, no, I can get it done. He had told them, based on your credit and where you're at, it's not going to happen. And sure enough, it didn't happen. The buyer came back to him, and now he's going to get it done quickly. But so many people are just rushing. So have the expert on your side that can help you. And I can't stress enough that when you're working with buyers and you're trying to negotiate offers, you want to be in a position to be able to close quickly because sellers want the here, the now, they want to close quickly. So if you're dealing with another multiple offer situation and you've got another buyer that's offering either cash, I've been in situations specifically when I've beat out cash offers based on price, knowing that the sellers were happy with working with a lender like Scott and knowing they were confident that my buyers were just as good as cash because we can get it done. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of mortgage mills out there these days. These people that they're online companies and so on and so forth. You call in, you get a different person every time. They've really started to kind of McDonald's size the mortgage industry with some of these companies. And what you get in that situation is you get no one who's accountable.
Right.
I mean, you're accountable, Scott. If I call you and say, Scott, I want to get a mortgage.
Right.
You're accountable to that.
100%, 150%. If I could just add in what Scott was saying, another factor that we bring to the table when we put the financing together beforehand is the communication with the listing agent. Because there's so many times I've been in a transaction and I've actually contacted the listing agent in the middle of the transaction when the offer's being written and said, look, here's the detail, not specific, I can't disclose obviously pertinent information, but I can reassure the listing agent that this buyer is solid, ready to go and put the deal together. So it adds so much value into what Scott's talking about with his clients, and when we put that teamwork together, I've seen deals come together because the listing agent said, this borrower is ready to close.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it's great
That
feature
makes
that
sense.
he brings.
Well, in Scripps Ranch, it's really hard to find inventory, right? That's been the issue. But you've got a couple of houses coming on the market, right, Scott?
Well, I had.
They're already gone?
One of them is, unfortunately. One of them sold off market. And this is just crazy how fast things are selling at Scripps Ranch. I mean, I have this great listing. It's a twin home on Glen Creek Circle, 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1,300 square feet, on a great family street. Sign goes up, neighbor calls her friend, hey, sign just came up, knocked on the door. They knocked on the door with the buyer in tow. The buyer had an agent who I knew in Scripps Ranch, and the agent and I were able to put it together over the weekend. But just because to show you, if you want more access to properties, you can definitely call me. You'll see photos of this, which we'll put up on the show here.
Yeah.
The other property I have is still available.
Okay. All right. We still got one.
This property is perfect for somebody, and I meet a lot of people in Scripps Ranch who are maybe getting ready to retire. They want to downsize from the large home, either in Poway or Scripps Ranch, and they want to get a single level. This is your single level dream home. It's great. 1936 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Bought back in around 2008, so the folks bought it right and they put a lot of money in, probably $150,000. I mean, every single piece of drywall in this interior home was redone. Lutron lighting, flooring, kitchens, baths. So it's a great location. It's in the Jerebeck School District, still walking distance to things. That'll be coming on the market right around the 1st of March. So if you're looking to downsize, maybe look from a bigger home to a smaller home, this is the perfect property for you. So the asking price will be $725, and we'll have photos and a bunch of cool things for it. So,
and if you need financing, we know a guy.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, that's right.
We got a guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, great stuff. Congratulations on your award, Mr.
Thank
Ryan.
you.
You do a great
Appreciate
job
it.
in Scripps
Great
Ranch.
job.
You've done a great job for us with the show there. We really appreciate your time. And you'll be on a reality show soon, I have a feeling. More to come on that. Mr. Boaman, thank you for your time today. Captain Mortgage,
you.
always great to see you. And
Great.
stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Our next guest is making her second appearance on the orange carpet. Please welcome your property matchmaker, Priscilla Rodriguez.
There she is.
Hello.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Good.
Oh, I'm throwing stuff. Great to have you here. And you brought a very special guest today.
I did. I brought my friend Phil and client.
Phil,
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah, I think you are the first client that we've had on the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
awesome.
you made it all the way here, man. Do you feel
Thanks for
like
having me.
the American Idol winner?
Yes, quite an honor.
Great to have you. So you've worked with Priscilla then?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about yourself. What do you do for a living?
I'm a portfolio manager at
Okay.
a local bank.
Local banker? Okay, great. And you manage portfolios, so you know a little thing or two about money and how it works.
Money and real estate and banking.
Okay.
Yep.
You decided to work with Priscilla. Can you tell us why?
Well, I met Priscilla, a couple years ago.
At
She
an
was sell-
open house.
Yeah, she was
yes.
selling my neighbor's house.
Ah.
And so, just because I am in banking, I walked across the street just to kind of talk to her a little bit, see where the market is at. And so she gave me her card. I think we exchanged cards.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got on her famous emailing list, right?
That's right.
And so, so ever since then, I just kind of just followed her career along and just kind of looked at her ads, and I looked at her listings. I was really just super impressed at the way how organized she was and how well she presented her properties.
It is
Thank
impressive.
You.
Yep.
Thank you.
It is impressive.
So when it came time to sell my place, she was my first choice.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you buy another house? Are you looking for another house to buy?
No, so she sold my house so fast I couldn't find another place. So I had to rent. Yeah,
That's all right. That's okay.
it's a good thing.
Now you have plenty of time,
Right.
to find the right
Right.
place to buy.
Yeah.
Well, great idea, by the way, Priscilla, bringing someone in who can testify to your prowess. I mean, I'm on the famous email list, so I see it all the time. right? We have some really cool video footage that we'll be playing throughout this segment of stuff that you've done as well. Tell us, how does video play into such a great result like this, or does it?
Well, I know people are now searching more online. They're looking for context via video, information on the agent, on the area that they're searching for. So if that's where our clients are going to be, then we need to be there showcasing what we could do for them.
Right. In this area, it's called, was it East Lake Villas?
East Lake Vistas.
Vistas, East Lake Vistas. That's a really nice area.
It is.
Down Chula Vista, right? So to sell a place there quickly, it's a little bit higher price point, isn't it, than the average down there?
Well, Phil was very cooperative when we worked together. He had a certain idea in mind as far as price. He knew what sold before, so he wanted to like set the record and sell it higher. So when he called me, I'm like, okay, that's not a problem. I could definitely do it. And as long as, you know, we're going to be doing the pictures, the video, and just let me go with it. And sure enough, I mean, I had pretty much all control when it came to the marketing side of his listing, and we ended up selling it for the highest price in that area.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So you set the record.
Yes. Priscilla did. I didn't do anything.
Well, you had the intention, right? The ambition. Yes. That's awesome. What a great story. So, Priscilla, you know, we've got some of your Valentine's stuff, you know, your Property Matchmaker.
Yes, that's correct.
That's you.
That's me.
Why is that you? I know you rebranded a little while back to that. Tell us about that.
Well, my client's goal is definitely my first priority, and I really go for a holistic approach. So when I look at my clients or when I talk to my clients, I really get a feel for who they are, because they're buying a home, and that home is really an extension of who they are, their personality, their likes, their lifestyle. So when I was selling Phil's home, I was making sure that the buyer that was submitting the offer that we were going to accept had that same idea in mind, as far as, you know, this is a home they want to be in, this is a house that they're going to be happy with, and the price was not going to be an issue.
I gotcha. So it's more about the overall goals, matchmaking goals then.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not about the house, it's about the people that we work with, our clients. You know, that's my job, is not just to showcase the listing, it's to showcase also my clients. That's why I brought Phil here.
Yeah, Phil. She's showcasing you. How's that feel?
Feels awesome.
What area are you looking to buy in right now, Phil?
Well, I work in La Jolla right now, so I'm sort of looking in like that area.
Okay.
Right now I'm in Bankers Hill, which is a great area as well.
Oh, that's a cool place to rent and hang out.
Yeah, so it's awesome. That fits my sort of lifestyle. I like to go out and eat in restaurants, and I have a dog, and so I take him to the park and stuff. So.
We usually talk about the things that you do for people who are listing their homes, like Phil, and the different dynamic marketing things that you do. For people that are buyers, how does your unique approach help those people?
Well, the nice thing is, because I do a lot of marketing, I've been in the industry for some time now, my name is already out there, so most of my buyers don't have much challenges getting their offer accepted on the home that they really wanted, even if I'm up against multiple offers. And that just recently happened with a property that I was selling in the East Lake Greens. We were up against multiple offers, and because I was able to structure it, my client was able to move in early, and we actually brought down the price. So
lovely.
Yeah,
that's amazing though. I mean, that's huge, because this is a seller's market right now. I mean, it has been for a while. So being able to negotiate on the buy side does show that you're getting some juice in the community.
Oh, absolutely.
So, Priscilla.
Yes.
Tell me, if you can, what's next? Everyone wants to know what you're doing next. What can we expect?
More contacts, more videos, more fun, really celebrating. My clients really having fun. I had a lot of marketing done for Christmas. I was passing out jams, and then for Valentine's I had a dinner with drinks and appetizers for my clients and little gifts that I also brought you guys.
Yes, thank you so much for that, by the way.
Of course.
We don't get gifts every day.
I know,
you know, we don't get cool stuff like this all the time, especially with hearts on it. All the love.
Okay.
And I wanted to ask you this: how do you feel about the real estate market, San Diego 2016? Has it started off slow, hot, and what do you think will happen for the rest of the year?
Well, towards the end of the year it was pretty busy, and I think it's still picking up, and
Really?
especially since interest rates just dropped.
Yeah, they did.
So It's a great time, I believe, for sellers that want to capitalize on those buyers looking in the spring and in the summer when school is out.
That makes sense. Okay, well, thank you both so much for being here. Phil, thanks for being the first client on the show.
Thanks for having me.
What
great.
an honor, my man. Your Property Matchmaker, Priscilla Rodriguez, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your
thank
time.
you.
You're awesome. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Our next guest is our go-to guy for tax problems. Please welcome back to the show, board-certified tax attorney, Jeffrey B. Kahn.
There he is, Jeffrey B. in the house. What's up, buddy?
Right. Thank you. Thank you for having me again. It's always great to be on the set with you.
Yeah, and today in the new digs, right? You haven't been here since we switched things up here, so.
You're always changing things up on me.
I know. It's the IRS is doing the same thing to you.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
it's
speaking
true.
of surprises.
And all of us, for that matter. My goodness, it's like I am like a target. I had an EDD auditor at my CPA's office this past week.
Yes.
Yeah. I reached out to you about
That's
that.
right.
I said, Jeff, should I do anything about this? The EDD wants to audit me. He's like, just do whatever they say. Let them in. It's the EDD. So obviously, at the end of the day, I didn't do anything wrong, but I always consult Jeff in those situations. When the IRS calls, when they send something in the mail, if it's the EDD, if it's the Franchise Tax Board, you get this correspondence. The first thing you do is you don't call them and respond to it. The first thing you do is you call your Jeff. This is my Jeff. He can be your Jeff too. Do you have a question?
I was going to say, explain real quick what the EDD is.
Employment Development Department, is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. It is the payroll tax arm for the state of California. So the payroll taxes that get withheld from our paychecks, it goes to the EDD.
That's right. They do the unemployment insurance thing, and that's their whole gig.
Correct.
Right? They collect those taxes, and they pay out the unemployment benefits. So if you file for unemployment, you're filing through the EDD. When you pay your taxes, you're paying them to the EDD for employment taxes. Employment taxes.
All right.
So, Jeff, I had one question for you because I should have asked you this last year, and I screwed up and didn't.
Okay.
I didn't win my Super Bowl bet this year.
Oh.
But
I'm sorry.
You're going for the Broncos.
I know. But I did last year, and I just realized that I may have to go back and change my tax returns. Do you have to claim income if you win a Super Bowl bet or any gambling bets?
Yeah, well, the IRS code defines income as all sources, including gambling. So if you won, maybe you went to Vegas and you won it big, and they send you a 1099. And if you go to the same casino regularly and you lose, well, guess what? They don't report the losses to IRS.
So I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, so it's your responsibility to keep track of them because the code allows you to deduct your gambling losses to the extent of your gambling winnings.
Interesting. So if I had a loss this year's Super Bowl bet, can that offset last year's win?
No, it's only per calendar
year.
Sorry.
Knew he was going to say that.
There's no carry back or carry forward of those losses. I know you'd like there to be. But
So I don't get to deduct that then unless I had a gambling win.
That's right. It's only to the extent of your winnings. So if you, let's say you lost Super Bowl this year, right? Okay. And we're not going to disclose how much you lost, but keep that number in your mind.
Okay.
Because actually, if you now go to a casino, and even though it's totally different gambling, you now win at the casino, you're going to want to claim your Super Bowl gambling loss against that casino winning.
So there is a bright side.
Yeah.
That's right.
I like that.
That's right. And then I'm going to flip it even to the next level, and that is, unfortunately for your gambling loss, it's not a direct offset against your winnings. Your winnings go on page 1 of the 1040, like with your W-2 income, your interest income. Your losses, though, go on Schedule A as an itemized deduction.
So it's not a one-for-one
So
deal.
it's not a complete, offset. However, if your livelihood is not doing San Diego TV, but instead you're a professional gambler, then you can take your losses on page 1 of that 1040 return with the income, but you're still limited to what your winnings are.
Okay, I was going to say, because there are probably some gamblers out there who are unsuccessful, but there's no tax love for them.
That's right.
Unless they're winning as well.
That's right.
Good stuff. Speaking of tax breaks, Jeff, I know a lot of people right now, just in my intimate network, who are caretakers for a family member, whether it's a grandpa or grandma, mom or dad, an aunt or an uncle. I was curious because I saw an article in Yahoo about tax breaks that might arise from this. Of course, I don't believe anything I read in Yahoo. That's why I ask you. So what tax breaks are there, if any, for people who are caretaking for someone else?
Yeah, no, very good question to ask. You know, I kind of feel we're in the sandwich generation because it's like we raise our kids and then our kids grow up, they go to college, they're on their own, and now we have to support our parents, you know? So it's like, when do we ever get a break? So it's really important that if there's a tax break that you could possibly get for taking care of your parents, you take care of, you know, you take advantage of that. So the first thing would be the personal exemption. So if they are your dependent, you are taking care of them, and there's certain tests that you need to meet, you can get a personal exemption form just like you do for a minor child.
Huh. Oh, wow. Claim as a dependent then.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's
so,
huge.
of course, the relationship is there because, you know, they're your parents. So you got that. Income. If they earn more than $4,050, then you're not going to be able to claim them as an exemption. Fortunately, to determine that amount, Social Security's excluded from there, as well as tax-exempt income. So if you figure they're not working, and maybe they have some interest, dividend income, as long as it doesn't exceed $4,050, you meet the income test. The last test is support. You've got to furnish at least half their support, and if they live with you, then basically the fair market value of that living arrangement, you know, a one-bedroom place or whatever, that can be factored in as support.
Okay.
So those are the three tests. And now if, let's say, like my brothers and I, we're taking all apart in supporting mom or dad, and therefore we're all kind of supporting them, well, if you still furnish at least 10% of their support, and together we provide more than 50%, I could still get the personal exemption for my parents. But keep in mind, in that situation, only one person still gets the personal exemption.
Only one person gets to use it. Are there any items that you can individually deduct, like expenses for taking care of someone, that would ultimately be a deduction on your personal returns?
Yeah, actually there is. So there's, first of all, you can get a tax credit for dependent care. So just like the minor child that you have and you're paying for support and you can get a tax credit for that, that same tax credit applies for parents, and it's worth up to $3,000 per parent. So you have two parents, you could be looking at a $6,000 tax credit. The problem though is if you're earning more than $43,000, that credit's essentially wiped out.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. And the last thing about expenses is, keep in mind medical expenses. If you're paying medical expenses for your parents, you can still claim those medical expenses as itemized deductions on your tax return.
That's huge.
That's huge. But remember, it's still subject to 10% of your adjusted gross income. So whatever your adjusted gross income is, let's say like it's $100,000, 10% of that's $10,000. So that means the first $10,000 of medical expenses for whoever they are, it's not even going to count.
Ha. See, can you believe he knows all this stuff in that head there? I mean, it's like,
Did you go to school for this?
How much stuff can the IRS put out there? How many pages of code is there?
I know.
He knows all this stuff, and this is huge. I will say this is really big. Take advantage of the few breaks that there are out there for you in that situation. Call board certified tax attorney Jeffrey B. Kahn. He's the only person I trust to have you or anyone else talk to about with regard to taxes. Jeff, thank you so much for being here, man. Really appreciate your time.
All right, thanks for having me, Derek.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Our next guest is our community correspondent in Santee. Please welcome back real estate expert Daniel Buxer and his special guest, City Councilman Rob MCNELIS.
The councilman is here.
Thank you,
Councilman. Hey, welcome, councilman.
Don't normally get that.
You don't
like,
get that
it's just a councilman.
When you walk into Starbucks, they don't do that?
Not so much. Make you pay double.
Make you pay double.
Yeah.
Daniel, you wanted to bring Rob in today?
Absolutely.
Tell us why.
Rob's one of my strategic partners. For me, it was a big dream to be able to open an office in Santee.
Yeah.
Being born and raised out there, we're very involved in the community. When it came to picking a lender and a strategic partner, I wanted someone who was equally as involved in the community and had a passion for Santee like I did. So Rob was a natural fit, and that's why we're bringing Rob on the show today. I want to give him an opportunity to be able to tell us a little bit about Santee and what his passion is for Santee as well.
So you said equal involvement in the community. Does that mean city council is up for you next? Because I know Rob is.
That's funny you said that.
Rob is talking
what
about
did I just tell you
running for
yesterday?
mayor.
I'll support Rob, and he can wear those shoes, and I will wear the real estate cap.
I said never say never.
Right. Yeah, never say never. It could be in the cards.
You
Maybe
never know.
not in the near future.
Like in 30 years.
He said when he was old like me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Rob, how do you have time for all this stuff, man?
A little ADD.
Yeah?
Yeah, just kind of got to be busy all the time. That's just the way I've always been my entire life, and it's what keeps me driven. It's what hopefully will keep me young.
Yeah, right. So Santee has seen a huge growth over the course of the last 10 years. I mean, for a lot of people, they still don't know about it.
Very
true. As much as we try to get the word out with the show, a lot of people don't know. They still think it's the Santee of 15, 20 years ago. Very different Santee today than it was back then. And a lot of it is because of guys like you who are going out in the community and doing things to make it better.
Oh yeah, we're very active within the community, but even outside the community, making sure that others know what's going on, what we're doing. Constantly going out, and I mean, one of my favorite things is going out to a restaurant or any place I have a great experience anywhere in the county, in the state, and then if I have a great experience, I want to ask them why they're not in Santee.
Yeah.
Well, why not?
Right.
Let's bring it on out here, and then it's funny how some people those conversations will start, and next thing you know, they're really looking pretty close at us.
Mayor material, I would say, Daniel.
Yes, sir. There you go.
He's actually going physically dragging the businesses into Santee.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Did you talk to the breweries? Was that your idea?
Actually, my idea was we have an incentive program to bring breweries in, and yeah, that was one of the things that I initiated. We had a very small brewery that was struggling to open their doors, and of course other cities were willing to wine and dine them. And I said, well, we need to compete on the same level, and we have more to offer, bang for your buck as far as dollar per square foot. The community, the population surrounding the community, the freeway access in and out of Santee. It makes better business sense for them to be there. But when you're getting incentivized by other cities, it's hard to beat that as well. So we need to do something to compete on that level as well. And so that's what we initiated. That's what we've approved, and it's helping us bring some large players into town now.
Yeah,
really I'm definitely not complaining. Breweries in Santee is a great thing.
They really are like the thing in San Diego County.
Oh yeah. San Diego County is now the largest craft brew capital of the world.
Isn't that amazing?
That is absolutely amazing.
And it just happened in like 2 years.
It really
just
did.
Like, and just went crazy. And it's fun. If whether you like, I'm not a beer guy for the most part. Right. I don't drink very much, but I do like to try some of these different concoctions. It's actually kind of fun.
It is. It's people used to go to do the wine tastings and stuff. Now they're doing brew tastings. I mean, just different beers. And there are, like you said, there's some crazy ones. The Sculpins. Sculpins have the grapefruits and the pineapple now, and the habanero and all this other stuff. You see these peanut butter stouts.
Somehow we always end up talking about beer on this show.
I don't know why.
I know.
We talk about, but if you like stouts, try the coffee stout. Modern Times.
All right.
So good. So good.
Coming from a guy that doesn't like beer.
Yeah,
he
I'm
even
telling
says
you.
that.
I'm telling you.
That says a
I
lot.
can drink about one of them. So let's put the Movement Mortgage cap on you now.
Okay.
After the Mr. Mayor cap, now let's move to Movement Mortgage.
Okay.
Because Daniel says strategic partnership. I know he opened the office in Santee. Movement Mortgage is a part of that too, right?
Yeah, we're right next door, and it was something that we did strategically. We definitely want to work together. The same feeling that Daniel had, said towards me is the same thing I say about Daniel and his whole team. In fact, the whole Mission Realty team, almost every single person that's in that office is born and raised in Santee. I am Santee proud through and through, and wanted to be around people that felt the same way about the community. Our company was founded by people that believe you give back to the communities that we serve. So they've given me, most places wouldn't want somebody who wears a second hat, like being an elected official or anything like that, working for them as a sales manager. Our company is different. They want you to be very involved in your community.
Tell us about Movement Mortgage. There's you guys have a unique process.
Yeah, that's what's really put us on the map, is that 671 process. It's a 6-hour underwrite, 7-day processing, and 1 day to fund. So we're getting deals closed in 2 weeks, even post-TRID, still getting deals closed in 2 weeks, start to finish.
And Daniel,
the expectations changing. I love it.
Yeah, right. I mean,
yeah.
what does that do to the industry? Much less, the clients who work with them.
From our standpoint, our buyers love Rob. Being able to close a deal in 2 weeks, I think that's one of the biggest challenges from the buy side, is being able to close on time. And so many of the other lenders out there, I won't name names, but they're doing 45-day escrows and
or longer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to be able to close a deal in 2 to 3 weeks is a big deal.
This is where I would name names, but I wouldn't do that to Daniel. He's far more humble than me.
You know who you are.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. So that's huge for the industry, right? Because it is sort of resetting the standard. Everyone has to sort of calibrate to whoever's doing the best. So if you have a short turn time like that, that's got to make a difference out there in the community, but especially for people who are buying, because of the fact that there's a lot of cash offers still going down. It's still almost a third of the transactions are in cash. So if you need financing, and a lot of those are in the lower price points where people really need the financing.
Right.
If you need financing, you need to almost make an as cash offer. Like, it needs to be almost as if it were a cash offer.
And this process gives them that competitive edge to be like that. We don't do a pre-qual or a pre-approval. We do a commitment to lend. So that 6-hour underwrite, we do that before they've even gone out shopping for their first house.
Wait, it was a 6-hour?
6-hour underwrite.
Okay.
So the borrower comes in, they bring us their pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns, bank statements. We submit the file. Within 6 hours, business hours, we have a response back from underwriting saying we approve this loan, or they'll counter it, type of thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, either get on the train or get off the tracks. The new Santee is here, and these guys are a big part of it. Fellas, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Really
Thanks for having
appreciate
us
it.
on.
Absolutely.
Stay
Thank you,
Santee
Daniel.
proud.
There it is.
Yes.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Our next guest is a true giver in the San Diego community. Please welcome back to the show real estate expert Voltaire Lepe and his special guest from Bella Reflections, Sandy Menderson.
Thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you for
awesome
having us.
stuff. Voltaire, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. Great to have you here with the Maple on again.
Got
you
the
know?
Maple. Close up.
Now, you wanted to bring Sandy on today. You're very passionate about this. Tell us why.
I wanted to bring Sandy on today because I was blown away. You know, I recently had a transaction with a client, and I was super impressed just because the client, the entire time, he was a senior client and he was downsizing, and he just kept talking about Sandy, you know, and I hadn't met her, and I was thinking, I wonder who she is, and he just kept saying positive stuff, great stuff, and he was very well taken care of, because what Sandy does is she helps seniors downsize into senior communities, and she takes away all the stress. Basically, she helps them from A to Z as far as you know, organizing everything in their home, taking an inventory of everything in the home.
So this is someone who was selling a home and moving into a smaller home?
Exactly. I was blown away, and I was like, man, that's a really good service. So, you know, I want everyone to know about this that may need this help in the future.
Yeah, because it's one of those things that a lot of people have no game plan for.
Right.
Right? I mean,
Exactly.
moving in general is sort of just a messy thing to do.
Yes, yes.
Much less when you're moving someone from a place that they've lived in for 30 or 40 or 50 years into a smaller space, but they like all the things that they've had. Is that one of the big challenges, trying to keep it the same as it was before?
It is. It definitely becomes a challenge. And I think, as you said earlier, the 30, 40, and 50 years that they've lived in their home, they have accumulated so much stuff. And it's really hard to let go of those precious heirlooms and those items that they've been given either on vacations, or it has memories attached to a lot of the things that they have. And so when they get ready to plan a move, such as either to a smaller home or a retirement community, the difficulty is, how much can I take? And we do a floor plan design to help them decide what furniture will be able to go. And then we talk about what are we going to do with the things that aren't going to be going with us. So we like to bring in the adult kids if they're involved and see if there's things that they want once we've decided what the parents are going to be taking. And then we can ship things to the kids if need be. Everything's color coded and organized via the floor plan design. And then we can Skype the family and shoot a photograph of all the art and things like that and say, who wants to take these pictures? Everybody's got a certain number or color. And then we help get them packed up, and we move them to their new community, and then we completely unpack them, decorate, and set them up.
Wow.
So what we do with the things that they're not taking, as I said, kids are first and foremost, and then we kind of help them downsize through that. What's really important? We help them go through the different stages of that downsizing process, because it is so overwhelming. And once they know that they've got somebody like us to help them go through those memories, work with them through those, we go through drawers and closets and everything, and help them actually downsize that process by helping them pick the things that are going to fit in the
And
new
that's
place.
got to be the biggest challenge of all, because
It is.
I know it's tough. I can't get Nikki to get rid of anything. You know what I mean? And there's just stuff, and then you get attached to it, and it's, you don't want to get rid of it. Yeah, right. It's like, oh, we don't use this anymore, but we might one day. Okay. But I imagine that's got to be really difficult with the senior clients who've had this stuff for decades. Maybe there's memories attached to it. So the fact that you're helping someone through that, I think, is a huge part of the service that you offer, because that has got to be the biggest challenge in downsizing.
Yeah, it definitely is. When it gets ready for them to make that change of their transition in their life to be moving, it is definitely the hardest part of it all. A lot of times what we try to do to ease that process is we only spend a few hours a day, maybe 3 days a week. A lot of times we will talk about the different things that they're having. To me, I might look at that piece of furniture and think, well, I don't think you really want to bring that. It's got a huge scratch on it. But what I don't know is that memory of that scratch. What was so special about that scratch? That piece of furniture needs to go with them.
Yeah. You do like a 4-box process, right?
We do. With the 4-box process, it kind of helps them see, because they need to visualize that. So what we do is we'll have 4 boxes in each room of the house. 1 box will be for items to keep precious memories, things that the kids might want, china, photographs. A lot of times the kids are having a hard time telling their parents, we already have enough of our stuff. So a lot of times those parents, the adult kids don't really want all those things, but we do a memory box and we kind of set that. That's 1 box. And then the next box are things that are of value that they may want to sell. So we can do, I have connections with Christie's in Los Angeles, so we can do auction. So those go in a different box, things that nobody really wants, but there's value in them that they could sell and have money for. Then the 3rd box is for things that are going to go with them. The furniture, the art, the things that they're going to be taking, those are separate. The last box is either donation or family, friends, whomever they may want to give some of these items to.
Now, Voltaire, you've experienced this. So you worked with a client who sold a home and moved into another place. Have you seen the new place?
Yeah, it was funny because when you're describing your boxing process, that's what I experienced. So every time I would show up to their home to discuss the sale or an update or whatnot, it was funny because they were walking me through the rooms and said, "Oh, this is for my son in Texas, and this is for my other son in another state, and this is us. This is stuff that we're gonna donate." And I was thinking to myself, man, they're pretty organized, because they're pretty detail oriented to start with. So at first I thought it was kind of them because I didn't know everything that she did, and so I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. And then I started thinking to myself, I wonder if they need my help to like move some of the stuff and donate some of the stuff. And just because I didn't know it was all, basically her behind the scenes. And ultimately what happened is we ended up selling their home. We got a really good deal and really good buyer, because that's important, right? You if you're selling, you basically want to make sure the buyer isn't going to cancel on you, because you guys have timelines. Like they're going to move into a place on a certain day. I think they told me December 6th. And I'd had that in my mind. But long story short, I think it was December 6th. They said, well, we're going to go to lunch. Sandy told us to go to lunch for the mall for a couple hours, and then she's going to give us a call. So basically they went to lunch for a few hours. The movers came in, Sandy came in, they took care of everything. And when I went to go visit them that next week, I walked into their home and I was amazed. I walked in and it looked just like their old home, except it was like 1,000 square feet smaller. And the furniture was in the right place, their bedroom, everything, all the settings, their bathroom, they had everything organized like in the same way they had it before. And they're happy, and I was happy for them. I was like, man, this is pretty amazing. And just because I've helped so many people throughout the last 13 years sell, and I know all the discomfort that comes with that, and it's never been that smooth before. And I didn't even know people like Sandy existed, so that's why and she cares to top it off, which a lot of people are just about their business and about the money, but she really gives that extra effort and really cares about her clients.
It's funny because a move is always a real pain, right? Rebecca, you're moving right now, aren't you? You're in the process. You're packing up boxes.
Yeah, I'm taking notes.
Yes.
You're packing up boxes right now. I mean, no matter what kind of situation you're in or how healthy you are, how young you are, moving is always a stressful situation.
Yeah.
The idea of being able to sort of take that stress out of the equation is huge, especially for seniors, who just don't have the ability to necessarily move stuff on their own, or don't have necessarily enough patience or just mental bandwidth to deal with the huge issue that is trying to move all this stuff.
Well, we're trying to downsize by like a couple hundred square feet. I can only imagine,
1,000.
20s. Imagine 1,000 square feet plus of everything that you have accumulated over so many years.
Yeah, I even had a client in Rancho Santa Fe went from 5,500 square feet into 12. That was a challenge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your awesome business.
Thank
I think
you
it's very well
much.
needed. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for bringing Sandy in today. It was great to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Our next guest is the all-time champion of the real estate debate. Please welcome back to the show from Story Estates, Elizabeth Story, and her special guest from Double Diamond Insurance, Ross Wood.
Welcome to the show, guys. Welcome. This is my golf clap. So, Champ, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. Today you wanted to bring in Ross and talk about insurance. Tell us why.
Well, growing up, my father was a president and GM of an insurance agency, and so I've always understood well the importance of insurance, and I've also had some personal and professional experience with insurance, and I think that people sometimes gloss over the importance of it, and it's just a really, really crucial piece of your financial puzzle. And one of the things I like about Ross, he's actually also my insurance agent, is that he can offer you pretty much any line of insurance you need, whether it's home, auto, whatever you need, he can provide it for you.
Okay, and so it starts with the home a lot of times, right? Because you buy a house, you got to have homeowners insurance.
Right.
You have to have homeowners, but then there's other things too, Ross, like life insurance, something everybody should have too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the major triggers of purchasing a life insurance policy is usually buying your first home, or your second home, or your third home.
Right.
Or
buying from Elizabeth.
Having kids a lot of times.
Having children is another one, and getting married to a certain extent too.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think it makes sense, really, for anyone, if you have any responsibilities financially, you got to have life insurance.
Yeah.
It was surprising for me when I took the test and sort of went down the list of all the things that I was financially responsible for. You know, if you go over, hey, the next 10 years, let's say, and you needed money for all that stuff, how much would you need? It's more than people think, isn't it, usually?
It's a lot more than people think, yeah. The old guideline used to be 10 times your annual salary, and I don't even know if that's enough anymore.
Really?
Yeah, it's and and it just depends on what your situation is. But as life goes on, you acquire more. You start having children. Every one of those children. If you're gone, how are they going to go to college? How are they going to even attend school these days? Everything comes with expense.
What about the difference between the different kinds of policies? Is there anything people need to know? I mean, term seems to be the normal thing people get. I know that's what I bought when I bought life insurance 10 years ago. Yeah. But eventually that sort of runs out and you kind of have to recalibrate. Well, term insurance does exactly what you want it to do. If you die, they pay your beneficiaries. It's sort of like renting your house. Or like leasing a house. So you lease a house per year, and you're going to pay this much money, and you're going to get to live in the house. Well, life insurance is the same thing. You can get a 10-year term, you can get a 20-year term, you can get a 30-year term, and you're going to pay the same price every month for that policy, and it's going to insure you if you die. Now, the only problem is that only about 2.5% of the time in the life insurance industry do you ever use that before you die. You're going to outlive your policy, which is a good thing. It's better than the alternative. I was going to say, sounds like a good plan to me.
Now, there are also insurance plans. It's called permanent insurance, and that would be things like a whole life insurance policy, a universal life policy, an index universal life, which kind of throws some investment portion into it. And that's more like buying your home. So you're actually building equity in those policies. So the premium is much higher, but that premium goes into a separate account, which either grows by a simple interest rate, which is adjustable, but they don't move very much, or the index is going to follow one of the financial indexes, and they even have a variable universal life that actually follows the stock market and uses sub accounts that are very much like mutual funds.
Okay, that's super interesting. So, what insurances do you need to have? Right, you got it. Life insurance makes sense if you have any financial responsibilities
Absolutely.
at all. Homeowners insurance.
Homeowners insurance is vital because
it's required.
A home is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make. So it's very important to protect that investment. And honestly, people, especially first-time home buyers, tend to just they do it because the mortgage company's telling them that they have to, because the mortgage company wants to make sure that their property is insured, because that's that's how they would get their money back if you defaulted on your loan.
Correct.
Or if it burned down, they want to make sure that it's going to be rebuilt because maybe you couldn't afford to rebuild it.
Correct. And I would say right now, with property values up, is a really good time for people to revisit policies. Right. Take a look and make sure that they have the actual, costs.
Actually, that's a very good question because a common fallacy in homeowners insurance is that the customers think that it has anything at all to do with the actual retail value of the house.
The cost to build.
It's a cost to rebuild, and if you're with a reputable insurance company on a preferred policy, they have an inflation factor built in. So you'll probably notice that your rate goes up a little bit every year. That's because the dwelling replacement cost of your house goes up a little bit every year. It's going to cost a little bit more, and they factor that in, and they raise your coverage a little bit every single year.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, from a real estate perspective, where does insurance fit in for you and your clients?
So it's something I always make sure to talk to my clients about, because I'm not interested in just selling them a house. I'm interested in their whole financial well-being. And a lot of times, too, people don't understand what they're covered for. I've had several clients where I was able to help them understand what you're covered for. Like, for example, personal injury, even making a review of a business online, if that business didn't like the review you left, you might be covered under the personal injury portion of your homeowner's insurance. Little things like that people might not know. Or I had another client who they'd had a water leak and they decided to fix them themselves. Once they got in there, they realized it was thousands and thousands of dollars of damage. And I said, call your insurance broker. You might be able to submit a retroactive claim. Or things like when we had the fires. A lot of people didn't realize that loss of use is a coverage under your policy. So if your home is damaged in the fire, you don't have to go stay in a shelter. Call your broker, get a hotel room, and get reimbursed for it. So that's your homeowner's piece. So just making sure that you have, and that's why I like to work with the broker. I like to have a personal relationship, because I wouldn't want to be calling a 1-800 number asking very important questions like that. I like somebody who can answer those questions in great detail, like Ross can. And another thing, I know we jumped right away to life insurance, but that's something that on many occasions I've helped people remind them that they need not only life coverage, but some people need umbrella coverage, which Ross can talk about. But for example, I had a family who had babies on the way, and they already had a baby, and they were buying their first house and they were renting. I said, we need to get you really good homeowners insurance. That's mandatory. But have you considered life? Because what if something happens to one of you? You want the other one to be able to stay in the house with the kids. And it was something that never had even occurred to them. So, we called Ross up and he got them not only a homeowner's policy, but also life and maybe some other coverages.
Double diamond is the way to go, right? I mean, 2 diamonds better than 1 diamond, right?
Double the diamonds.
Unless you're at the top of a hill, a snowy hill, then the double diamonds, you might want to be careful with that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
In that case, it could be dangerous. Let's talk about umbrella then, Ross, because that's something where I think a lot of people probably could benefit, but they don't quite understand it.
Yes. Okay, so what an umbrella policy does, actually what any liability coverage does, it's protecting you against lawsuits. That's really what it's doing. So do you need an umbrella policy if you get into a fender bender? Probably not. But if you get into a serious accident and you're found to be at fault, you could lose everything you own. Somebody, God forbid, passes away in an accident that you're found at fault in, or even is permanently disabled, those lawsuits can get huge. So an umbrella policy, what it does, they require a minimum underlying limit. So typically it's $250,000 per person, $500,000 per accident on auto policy, and $300,000 on the homeowner's policy. And you can get an extra $1 million of coverage. So that pays once. So if you get into a major lawsuit and that $250,000 per person is exhausted, then they will pay another $1 million on top of that. And it does a couple of things that are really good. One thing it protects you, and it helps the person who you injured, right? But it also makes the insurance company very invested in that claim, because they stand to lose $1.5 million. If you're somebody that's driving your car and you have the state minimum limits, which are $15,000 per person, $30,000 per accident,
which so many people driving around.
Yes, they do.
It's unbelievable.
And I mean, you can get to a minor accident. $15,000 is an ambulance ride these days. I mean, it's horrendous what medical costs, and that's what's driving up the cost of car insurance, by the way, as well.
They'll also put a collection on your credit report
if
you don't pay them.
And also, when they go before the judge, he will attach your wages for 10 years to pay off the debt you owe the other person for the portion that the insurance doesn't cover. Yeah. So basically, that 1530 insurance. Nobody that owns a house should have that. They should have the maximum. They should have an umbrella policy, because what the insurance company does. If that person with the 1530 gets into a serious accident, you know what they do? They take a look at the claim in the court case, and they say, well, this guy's going to get $150,000. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to cut a check for $15,000 so fast it'll make your head spin, and they're going to pay the claimant, and then they sue you personally.
I saw an article in Forbes a couple of years ago, and they interviewed like the 100 wealthiest people in the United States, and the number one common thing that they all said that most people don't know about or have enough of, insurance.
Yep.
That's what they all said.
Now an umbrella policy, the average price for a $1 million umbrella policy, if you have 2 cars, 2 drivers, and 1 home, and you own 1 home, is about $180 a year.
I mean, it's
That's
incredible.
All it is. It's nothing. They cost nothing.
Yeah. Wow.
Are
So
those
worth
claims
it.
common? No, they're not real common, but I'll tell you what, if you're the unlucky person that needs it, you better have it.
Yeah. You're going to want to have it. Elizabeth, anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I just like to call it pennies to pounds. Like the difference between the very cheapest policy you can get and a really good coverage, you're talking about maybe $100, $200 bucks a year. And on the flip side, you're talking about, $75,000, $100,000 or more that you stand to lose over a couple $100 a year. So always get the very best insurance that you can, and keep it, and have a good broker that you can call anytime you need to.
Totally agree. Thank you both so much for being here. Really appreciate your time and your wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial free. Hey, great show, guys. That's a wrap. Jade, what's your schedule look like? Do you mind breaking down the set?
Not today, Derek. I'd love to, but there's waves out there. I gotta go. Angela? Nikki?
Yeah, I gotta go beat traffic. And I think Nikki's making something up there.
Look at this. We did this. We did all of this.